like the first noble truth of dukkha. Why did the Buddha say birth, old age, sickness, and death are suffering? Separation from loved ones, prized possession, and all the things we hold on to dearly is suffering. To be with people whom we don't like is suffering. When we can't get what we want, when things don't go our way, when our expectations in life are not met, also leads to suffering. Then why did the Buddha say, in short, in the final summary, all this you can reflect and contemplate. So the final summary, I hope by now most of you would have understood. The Buddha said, in short, it is due to your self-delusion, sakayaditi, that condition you into grasping and clinging to your five aggregate of form and mind, namarupa, namarupa, that condition, dukkha or suffering. So that final summary is very important. Why did the Buddha say that? And how can you understand that? So to understand that, you need to understand what are the five aggregate of form and mind. Then only you can put it to test. All this come from inquiry, contemplation, reflection. It depends on which one you choose, like birth. Why did the Buddha say birth is suffering? Then you can recall to mind via mindfulness, recollecting what the birth process is like. You cannot recall your own birth because you were too young. Then as a mother, you can recall how you give birth to your child. Then before you give birth, what are the things you experience during the confinement stages and conceiving stages. Then as you reflect and contemplate, this reflection and contemplation, or what we call recollection through memory, will give rise to understanding. They call this the recollection phase. Based through memory, you can slowly, mindfully recollect. And when you are mindful, all this memory can come back. As you recollect, you mindfully go through the birth process. Then, like all of a sudden, you can recall during that time, you had a lot of pain, like morning sickness, vomiting, and other side effect of pregnancy. Then sometimes you have to see the doctor. You have to go for follow-up. As the pregnancy develops, as the baby or the fetus grows, it starts to kick you and give you a lot of other discomfort. Your movement become affected as the baby grows, as your womb develop and expand, etc. You recollect all the stages leading to the birth itself. Whatever you can recollect, your memory can help you develop the understanding. Then suddenly you will understand. No wonder the Buddha said, birth is suffering. But there is so much suffering that comes with birth. And through this experience, you will also develop gratitude towards your mother who has gone through that birth process and give birth to you. So all this understanding will come. That's why as you become the mother yourself, you will have more understanding towards your parents, how they sacrifice, how they actually care for you, sacrifice for you, protect you, and provide you with all the love, the necessity of life. So all this understanding, as you reflect, it will surface. Then you become more understanding. You develop more gratitude towards your parents, especially your mother, your love for them, your gratitude towards them. This is how you develop good understanding of life. This is how you become a child that has understanding and gratitude towards your parents for what they have given you and sacrificed to deliver you and bring you to the world, to give you life, to give you all the conditions to become what you are. So this understanding is very profound, very beautiful. And this is what Dhamma is all about. It's about truth, about reality, about life. It's not about all the fanciful theory. No, it's life itself, every moment, every instant, when we experience them, when we reflect upon them, when we contemplate deep into them. This understanding stabilizes. Then we become different. We become true human beings. We are no longer like people who don't have gratitude. In Mandarin, they got a very strong word, 忘恩负义. Means you don't have gratitude at all. You just take things for granted and don't care. Well, you're so selfish. So I read on. After the baby is born, the baby will experience old age, sickness, and death. And this will lead to more suffering. And these are the realities. This is the Dhamma that the Buddha wants you to understand. That as a baby is born, there is attachment to it. The mother, the parent, the grandparent, and those who have relationship with the child, they will all have attachment. And if anything were to happen to the child, the parent and their loved ones will worry for them. And there is attachment leading to suffering. That's how it happens. That's why upadana khandhas, the grasping aggregate, are suffering. Then when there are complications during birth, it will lead to more suffering. All this, you will start to understand. Then you will reflect deeper and further on why the Buddha said this is suffering. And this suffering is to be understood under the second turning of the first noble truth. The first turning of the first noble truth is just the proclamation of truth by the Buddha. Birth is suffering. Then the second turning inquiry should be, why did the Buddha say birth is suffering? You have gone through this reflection and contemplation, you will understand why. If you don't reflect and contemplate, you cannot understand the birth process, how it brings about suffering. Then why birth is to be understood. You have to inquire deeply why the Buddha said that. If you don't understand what suffering is, it means when you are caught in suffering, you still don't know that it's suffering because you cannot see the attachment behind. You cannot see how the outcome of birth leads to all this suffering or dukkha. As you reflect and contemplate via the second turning, you will develop the understanding to confirm what the Buddha said is very true. Birth is indeed suffering. Well, birth is part of the human condition. For the physical form goes the way of nature. So this is a human condition. You will then come to understand another reality. That this birth, old age, sickness and death are the realities of life and existence. And each and every living being has to experience and confront all this reality when the time comes. If you live long enough, if you have the condition to confront them, and if you confront them without wisdom, you will attach, you will cling, and you will grasp, and you will develop the suffering, the fear, the worry, the anxiety. And then you will understand how the mind gets itself entangled. That's why we call it the grasping aggregate. The cause of suffering is attachment, clinging, grasping, thinking that this child really belongs to you, the atta, the ego, etc. In reality, it's only a form of mind like yours.